One of the things that Pritzker Purge Law has done is put a lot more attention on the judiciary. So that's a positive thing because now there's so much judicial discretion here under the nebulous standard of holding somebody over because they present a threat to the public, the few people that are actually arrested, the few people the prosecutors actually want to be held pre-trial. Now we can look at the judges. And what we find is, the left has been busy packing the courts, certainly in Cook County, and I suspect we'll find that's to a lesser extent the same in a lot of the collar counties as well. Different downstate, but not up here. And so I just focus in on this statement that was made by Mary Catherine Marubio, the judge in the case where that 19-year-old was released after he
shot his dog in the head.
Killed a dog, and he had a mini arsenal in a backpack, and he had previously had run-ins with the law. Charges were dropped, but nonetheless. This is what she said, among other things, when she was elevated to being an associate judge in the Cook County Circuit Court.
Did she have a coronation for herself?
Asian judges, blind judges, queer judges. It's a place where difference is understood. I aim for inclusiveness. In my courtroom, that's my goal. It goes back to something I said before, that this is about politics. It's not about justice. It's certainly not about public safety. I aim for inclusiveness. I don't aim for justice. That's not what she said. I don't aim to protect the public.
No.
That's not what she said. I aim for inclusiveness.
She's pushing her.
And the way that she was being inclusive is by releasing a 19-year-old black guy because he's a black guy. That's what she did. And that's why she did it. And by the way, I have some criminal defense attorneys, friends who know her and say she's a particularly aggressive identitarian. What a surprise. For more on this, pleased to be joined by John Garrido, former Chicago Police Lieutenant, the 16th District, that is. He's also the...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Hello, hey, John?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm here.
I'm president of the Garrido Stray Rescue Foundation as well, so he probably doesn't look too kindly on execution-style killings of animals. And you're participating in the forum today that's being hosted by Jim Jordan and his cohorts on the House Judiciary Committee at FOP headquarters. John, thank you.
Thank you for having me on the show.
You're chopping at the bit. Go ahead.
So many things. One, I know you mentioned that I retired from the 16th District. It's closed to the public right now because they had an outbreak of scabies with the migrants in the lobby there. So
Nice.
That's just an aside to throw out there. But with back to Marubio, she was a firefighter. She was pushed big time by the firefighter union. Oh yeah, she she was a first responder, and none of that matters though.
The firefighter union, of course, the firefighter union again, propping up, and I mean sometimes Ken Zara does it too. And I've called him out too. Propping up these men and women of always playing the identitarian political game, and then wondering why the city is up for grabs.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought on the first day of cash bail, when they were particularly focusing on her courtroom, and the state's attorneys were not asking for detention, so I thought that's where the issue was going to lie. I was like, of course, if they were to make the request for detention, that the judge, and especially her, because she was so promoted by the firefighters, that she would be, a good judge that would hold people. And now this just confirms that it's not only the prosecutors, it's also the judges. It's just everywhere.
Now, you and your group, you attend peacefully, but you attend these hearings where there's animal abuse and charges,
We do. Our rescue foundation has a court group, and we've had as many as 120 people show up for these cases that we follow. And it's just to, have a presence in the courtroom and let everybody involved know that there's somebody watching, so that things don't slip through the cracks.
Oh, so you're in the know. So what happened? Why did he shoot this dog? Was it in self-defense? Was it his dog? Do you know anything about this case?
No, the only thing that I got so far was that it looks like it might have been a neighbor's dog that he shot, and obviously, like Dan said, he's had several run-ins with the law. He had a small arsenal in a backpack. He's no stranger to the criminal justice system here that keeps letting him out.
This robbery in Bucktown that has gone viral because there's video of it. It's so interesting. Everybody's talking about this robbery in Bucktown because of this terrible beating of this kid that was just walking along having a slice of pizza. What do people think robberies look like? What do people
I
think
know.
these
So there's
assaults
no
look like?
screaming.
They think it looks like, sir, may I have your
Well,
wallet? And
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Robberies aren't violent.
right. Well,
It's just.
we were only supposed to, it's all homicides. Homicides and shootings are down, then everything's fine. But
Right.
if aggravated batteries are up, well, that's just a category. And then when somebody sees it, like the woman in Lakeview screaming last fall, or this kid fighting for his life in an alley in Bucktown, then all of a sudden they're aghast. What do you think that looks like? I mean, I
Yeah,
just. Uh,
we're creating an army of predators out there that are just they don't care what time of day it is, they don't care where they're at. They just look for opportunities and they just attack, and they don't care because there's no repercussions, there's no accountability. Then now they're not even going to be held in court. They're not in jail. They're not even going to be held until their trial date. Before you would always get, well, at least if they got held until their trial, even if they somehow beat it on some technicality there, at least there was some justice. They were off the streets for a period of time. Now that's not even the case anymore.
Yeah, well, there's no motivation to go to your trial date. But so what happens if they don't show up? What's the
Now
protocol?
there'd be a warrant. A warrant would be issued for the arrest, and then maybe then they'll be detained. But there's still no guarantee.
So, so what kind of color are you going to provide with the House Judiciary Committee and Jim Jordan in town today to talk a little bit about endemic violent crime in America's big cities, including Chicago, mostly at the
While
mostly at the hands of MAGA Republicans, as I understand it from the governor.
yeah, exactly. It's the definition of insanity, right? Anytime there's an opportunity, though, I take it to be able to speak out and to try to shine a light on what's going on and see if something will jar something loose in these non-voters' heads and get them to wake up. I hope, I'm sure it will be, but I hope it's not overshadowed by the whole Republican Democrat thing. I'm going to be there with Carlos Yanes Jr., who was shot the day that Ella French was murdered. This is going to be some legit testimony explaining what's actually happening and what's going on here in Chicago. And I'm hoping that this is just a little bit of a bigger stage that might actually get a little more attention and maybe wake people up to what's going on and how important it is that they get out there and they actually pay attention to who they're voting for, regardless of party. Just based on the candidates, look them up, see what they're about.
And
But
why are they
how-
coming to you? Like, why are
well, I just want to know how Yanes Jr. is doing because he was seriously injured.
He was seriously injured. He's doing better. It's going to be a struggle for the rest of his life.
Oh gosh. Well, please send them our best. But real quick, why are they coming here instead of you guys going to them in D.C.?
I think they're doing a tour. They did New York, and now they're here. They're kind of just going to these cities to try to expose what's going on.
Well, do you think anything will be accomplished?
Well, like I said, definition of insanity. I don't know, but I don't think that you don't do something because you just assume that nothing's going to change or be accomplished. So we just do it, keep going through the motions, keep on shouting at the top of our lungs as much as we can that things need to change and hope that something happens.
Early stages, but the new police superintendent, I know you were fairly positive on him. What's your sense of what his willingness is to lead on some of these matters, even if it puts him in the political crosshairs of the mayor or the Cook County State's
Right.
attorney?
So that's what it's going to come down to: is the mayor going to let him do the job? And that's the problems with politics being infused into law enforcement. That everything's been run from the fifth floor for the past 10 years that I can think of. And it just remains to be seen. Is he going to be allowed to actually do anything, or are they just going to still pull the strings from City Hall?
What is there any early indication of what his inclination is? How aggressive will he be? It's on him too.
I don't know him personally. People I've talked to say that he's a stand-up guy and that he speaks his mind, and that I know there were some things that he was asked to do, without going into detail, but that he's pushed back on. So early signs are that he's going to try.
And
Hopefully they let him do it.
the conversation today, I don't know if this will be part of your testimony, but certainly part of the conversation necessarily includes the influx of people from other countries to places like New York and Chicago, and the pressure that puts on local police. You were just describing what's happening in the 16th district. The new chief of Border Patrol, Jason Owens, was talking about what cartels are doing, using a push for migrants to cover their illegal activity, which of course insinuates itself in places like New York City and Chicago. So that needs to be part of the conversation too, about the public safety threat this presents, doesn't it?
It does. It adds to it, absolutely. And already in the 18th district, I was there about a month ago and talking to officers, and they've already had to set up patrols over on 200 East Ontario because the migrants have been started to prostitute themselves there. So
Oh, that's wonderful.
there's and some of them are already committing crimes, and of course that's not to say that they're all bad, because they're not. They're just trying to get a better life. They're coming to here where they think the streets are paved with gold. But that said, there are some that are doing bad things, and some just to try to make ends meet and do what they got to do, I guess. But it's an extra strain on our officers, and these people are also living in the police stations and out at O'Hare Airport. I was able to walk out there and go behind the black curtain and do some video out there. It's all on lockdown now, though, and I think I'm banned from that section of the airport. But there's over 500 migrants sleeping on the floor out there, and they've gone and swept the entire area, and no homeless are allowed to even get on the trains to go out to O'Hare anymore. They sweep them all off and make sure that they can't get out there, because the migrants were complaining that the homeless were eating some of their food were taking up their sleeping space.
If they want streets paved with gold, they should go to Bob Menendez's house in New Jersey. That's
So, John, when are they going to get out of our police districts? And then when they do move out, are people going to be automatically moving into those slots?
Well, it sounds like, they keep on coming in, but there was $120 million that the city refuses to explain where it all went. I think they let out a little bit a few weeks ago, and they showed that they were paying managers from some company $14,000 a week and $20,000 a week to manage the migrants. But where and how they're doing this, I don't know, because these migrants are all in the police stations, and there's nobody there managing them. There's nobody there offering any type of assistance whatsoever. So I don't know where that $120 million went.
So there's a lice and bug infestation I think it was the 12th, and now you're saying at the 16th they have a scabies outbreak?
Yes. So they've now closed it off. The migrants are still there. Those that were infected have been taken to the hospital. The general public is now barred from going in, so to protect them from catching.
Oh, so you just call 311 to file a police report?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but the officers are still there. They still have to work there.
John Garrido, former Chicago Police Lieutenant, 16th District, President of the Garrido Stray Rescue Foundation, lighted up today in that House Judiciary Committee hearing. John, good luck to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, and he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Dave Nissen, CEO of PKF Mueller. As a CPA firm, we have been serving our business clients since 1968 by providing audit, accounting, tax, advisory, and consulting services. We as trusted advisors go beyond what our clients hired us to do by thinking outside the box to understand their operations and industry. We want to discover ways to increase their net income and cash flow by reducing costs or increasing efficiencies. To this end, PKF Mueller provides several